224. I'm Mox Born Again. I have with me, as always, it's my angel. What's up?
Not much.
I have this elaborate intro that I really want to hammer down, but I always forget it. And I always say
you should just go for it.
Well, I always say what we've said like 224 3 times before. And yeah.
Then go for it. Just say it.
Well, I've already said that. Well, okay. Well, let's try it again. We'll try it again. Welcome to the Ball and Chain podcast, where we talk about video games, board games, movies, and comics, and pretty much anything else that entertains us. I'm Mox Born Again, and I have with me, as always, it's my angel. See, doesn't that sound much better?
You forgot TV shows.
Take 2. Welcome to the Ball and Chain podcast. See, you got me all flustered. I can't.
Sorry,
I
had to call you out on it. I'm sorry.
I had to call you
out, and you didn't create anything for me to say.
Yeah, I did. Like down there, it's got. Well, I guess no. I've got my lead in, but I don't have.
I don't have anything scripted
I haven't scripted for you. Apologize. I did not do your job of the podcast. You just show up.
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh dear Lord. Here, how about
pretty
you?
Much how it goes.
How about you scooch over just a little bit more? There we go. There. All right. So we got a pretty interesting show. That's a pretty jam-packed show, actually, because now we have 2 shows. Oh,
what are you doing there?
Hello. Trying to get Facebook set up. So we're streaming on Facebook.
Shows?
We're streaming on Facebook. We're streaming on twitch.tv/72DPI. And we're also streaming on Mixer for those of you that are on Xbox One. So you can chat with us on any one of those outlets, sources, stuff like that. But yeah. Anyway, so we have a huge show to talk about. We've got 2 different shows to spoil at the end of the podcast. So if you're worried about spoilers, we will warn you in advance. We'll even put one of the little. This is our little spoiler thing right here. Boom! Spoilers. Blood splat. We'll put that up. We'll talk about those shows later. We will be spoiling it, but that's after the end of the show. So if you haven't seen them yet, you can still listen to the entire show or watch the entire show. Either way, and
until we say go.
Get out. We are also talking about my first impressions, and I need to preface this because apparently there is some confusion about what when we talk about games.
Mm-hmm. First impressions versus reviews.
First impressions are exactly that. We sat down and played the game. In fact, I played the game for 4 hours, almost exactly.
That's still a good chunk.
It's still a good chunk. I did not play through it all. I did not experience every bit of it. I'm literally giving you the information that I obtained in the first 4 hours.
As you see it.
As I see it, it is my opinion. If you don't agree, fantastic. Let me hear about it in the comments. What did you think about your first hour experience? Don't call me out on mine if you don't give me yours. Anyway, sorry.
Oh, boy. Okay.
Oh, boy. Dude touched a little bit of a nerve. Anyway.
Apparently so.
We probably won't be doing a full review of the game because we only rented it. But right. We'll talk more about that later. We also want to talk about loot crates. Apparently Belgium hates them. We'll talk about that. That kind of set you got fired up about that. I thought,
which is ridiculous. I don't know why, but I did.
I was skimming like my news feed and like Twitter and some of the sites that I visit, and I was like, I gotta find something. I was like, loot crates. Amanda won't give a damn about this. I don't even know. I don't even think I'm going to talk about it. Like, I'll just put it in there and we'll see what happens. And to be quite honest with you, I wasn't planning on talking about it until we were kind of doing a little show prep thing. And you kind of got, you're just like got red. I was like, oh, we're talking about this then.
I don't know why.
And then we're going to stream the what?
Demo?
The demo of Detroit Become Human. That just released today. Although there's been a bunch of people that have already played it at shows and things like that. Man. So there's plenty of stuff out there about it. But if you haven't seen it, and we haven't seen it,
no,
we haven't played it yet. We saw
something, I think, when it was on E3 or something like a long time ago.
Right. There was a two people on top of a roof or whatever, and one of them was going to commit suicide, and one of them was an android, or both of them were androids, or I don't know.
We don't even know. Yeah.
So we don't know. So we don't know anything about this. So we're going to go into it. So this is literally our first impressions, like more pure than any other first impression possible.
Everything is first impressions with us here.
Right. We don't form. we don't form final opinions.
We don't know much about anything, but we'll talk about a lot of random stuff.
Maybe we should skip. Maybe we should stop doing reviews and just do first impressions forever. Like, yeah, we're not going to review this thing. We're not going to tell you to buy it. We're just going to tell you what the first 4 hours was like. And then you make the decision.
We're going to judge all the books by their covers.
No. The first, 10 pages.
Okay.
I mean, it's got to be 10, because if you go, first 5, there's, 2 or 3 blank pages in there. Why did books do that, by the way?
Blank pages?
Yeah, there's always 1 or 2 blank pages. You open up the cover and there's a blank page. Turn the page, and then usually
there's a dedication page, and then all the copyright stuff on the one page and the title page.
Yeah, I don't know. What? I don't know. So anyway, so we'll do that, and then we will roll to our Fear the Walking Dead and Westworld spoiler recap. So. All right.
Did we talk last week? Did we podcast last week?
We did podcast this week.
Isn't that bad that I don't recall?
I have what we talked about last week.
All my days and things blur together.
We
talk
Fear.
We did talk Fear's season premiere and the season finale.
Yeah.
I guess we did. You're right. We did because it was a really long show. That's right.
We talked about Mansions of Madness.
You're right.
And Black Ops 4.
It's
Make sure you go back and watch those.
My weeks blur together.
Yeah, go back and watch those. If you haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel, please do so. YouTube.com/72DPI online. We're up to 45 subscribers.
We had a boom with all that magic.
The magic content was well placed. I enjoy making those videos, and there's some really good information. I'm not going to say it's perfect information, but it's a good source to get you prepared for a limited event like pre-release, and everyone was looking for that at that time, so I was like, sweet. Yeah. Anyway, if you haven't, please do. It helps out the channel a lot. It's free. It doesn't cost you anything.
Nope.
So yeah, all right, so let's get into it. So God of War. First off, let me preface this first impression by saying I haven't really played a lot. I don't own any of the God of Wars. I think I played through the one on PSP. Chains of Olympus, maybe? Olympion? I don't remember what it's called. One of those Greek mythology words, names, gods, things, places, people, verbs, nouns, pronouns, his, hers, thems. So I played God of War 3 on the PlayStation 3. So I don't really have a huge backlog of this, I'm not enfranchised in this series. I don't have a lot of information about it. I just know that you play as Kratos. I can't even say his name. Kratos. There you go. So I can't even say his name. That's how
I know.
That's how ignorant I am to the series. But this is the next set, or the next expansion, or the next story, or whatever you want to call it in the series. You play as Kratos. You have aged drastically. You are no longer your hip, younger, badass self. Well, you still are a badass, let's be real. But you have a kid, and you had a wife. I'm not going to go into too much more about that. But as far as my first impressions with it, the gameplay is a lot of fun. Online, you'll read a couple different. There's kind of two schools of thought. People are really upset about the over-the-shoulder camera, which I thought most of them were over the shoulder, but maybe not. I don't know. Or actually, you know what? They were more kind of pulled back, and it kind of followed you around like third person. It still got really close in some instances, depending on how close you were to the enemy, or how big the enemy was, how far back the camera went. But the camera is pretty much fixated on your back shoulder. And one of the complaints is that it doesn't allow for very good scaling, so you can't really get a good impression of how big things are, and enemies are appearing smaller. So so people are complaining that the combat isn't as enjoyable because you're not facing these huge gargantuan creatures. When you face one within the first 2 minutes of the game, the first enemy second enemy you attack, it's a giant troll I don't know what it's got, horns or tusks, I guess. I don't know what it is, but you have to shoot it with arrows to kind of like interrupt its like attacking, and then you got to go in there and swing in, and it's got like this huge like brick column thing that it hits you with. So I'm not really sure what that all that negative feedback is, but I felt like it was an enjoyable experience. It's hella hard. It's really hard. Like the first, and it might just be that my ignorance to the game or my lack of familiarity with the game is showing, but I struggled with the first set of enemies. I didn't realize you could block. That's a thing. Blocking is very, very important. I don't remember blocking in any of the other games. The other games, it was more, attack, 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 dodge, attack, attack, attack. There was like a timing mechanism where if you like blocked at the very last second, you like performed like this parry attack, which like set not only the guy that was trying to hit you off, but it also set anybody that was in with like a 45-degree angle of your view kind of got offset, and you could just kind of go to town on them. One of the things that I don't remember as much in the old games is there are skill trees for like your shield, for your axe, the Leviathan axe, which is really cool. You can augment the axe with different spells or different attributes or whatever. I'm not sure how far that goes. Again, 4 hours. Can't stress that enough. And game looks beautiful. Like, it's absolutely gorgeous. There's an NPC that plays your child. He's got a skill tree as well, and you can kind of augment him or whatever in his arrows. He's really kind of used as more of like a distraction mechanism, and then also kind of like a way to, like I said, with like the giant troll thing, kind of offset people, like enemies. Like there's a. I can't remember the name of the enemy, but it's kind of like it reminds me of the witches from Destiny, where they were kind of floating or whatever. And basically, if you can throw your axe, and you can summon your axe back to it. And there's this really cool gimmick where if you miss the person on if you throw your axe and it hits them or whatever, and it hits the wall behind them, if you summon the axe again, it'll come back through them or anybody that's in between you, and it hits them and kind of like doesn't do a lot of damage, but again, it kind of sets them off balance. But anyway, going back to your kid, one of the cool things is you can't melee or attack this witch flying thing or whatever unless you use his arrows first. For some reason, him shooting an arrow is more damaging than you throwing your axe at him. So it kind of stuns him and gives you an opportunity to either throw the axe or go in there and kind of melee him to death. So there's some really interesting mechanics there. And again, I haven't really got a lot too far into it, but I feel like there's more to be had there for sure. The storytelling so far has been interesting. There's some type of trip or some type of quest that the main character Kratos is trying to prepare his son for, and he doesn't believe that he's ready, but then something happens where they kind of have to be ready, and it just kind of sets the whole story in motion, where you get the feeling like he's being chased by this other person, and the other person just doesn't want to die. Like he definitely can regenerate like parts of his body, kind of like what Kratos can do, but to even greater effect or whatever. Like the scene is you're literally snapping this dude into multiple pieces, and he just kind of like, and like his body all shivers, and he gets back up, and he just starts laughing about it, and
that's gross.
Yeah. It's a lot of fun. I don't normally recommend purchasing a single player only game, but I feel like there's enough there to justify a $60 purchase. With the skill trees, the side quest. I've heard and read that there are side quests. The story alone I've read is phenomenal. Of course, there's some haters on there, and you can point them out, or you can see them immediately, because there's one thing that is common, and it always says, this isn't a game, this is a movie. And I don't know what that means. Like, I understand like if there's more cutscenes than there is gameplay, but I don't, unless there's some like hour long cutscene that's, right after what I've played, I don't think so. The game, like I said, the game's challenging. I played it on the medium difficulty. I think there's 3 difficulties. It was give me a balanced experience. I would like to be challenged. And the third one is I want God of War. I felt like I wasn't prepared enough to. Normally I would go hardcore and go the bottom one, but I don't think I was prepared for that. I wasn't prepared for the middle one, but after defeating a bunch of enemies and getting through the encounters, it felt like I accomplished something, and that kind of gives me that idea of this might be worth $60. Like when you get done doing something, you're like, that was a challenge, right? Challenge accepted. So based on the first 4 hours, I could probably recommend purchasing it. It's not a game that you're going to be able to finish over the weekend, unless you have 48 hours to crank into it. But yeah, first impressions, very, very good. So anyway, all right, let's see if we can get this to work while we have our PS4 plugged in. We're gonna switch gears here and then pull up this. There we go. All right, so Shack News did a report last week about the Netherlands declaring that loot boxes are legal. Now Belgium has joined in the fray. So games like Overwatch, CS:GO, I think even Halo has not loot boxes, but they have the little things that you crack open and you get things.
I mean, Minecraft.
Anything that you essentially anything that you can provide, you can pay for, and they give you a box that has random things in it. It's
I mean, there's phone My Cafe on my phone that I play, and you can buy gifts, they call it.
And essentially, so let's talk about here. It's originally reported by Eurogamer. The Belgium Gaming Commission took a look at several games to identify unethical practices in loot boxes. FIFA 18, CS:GO, Star Wars Battlefront 2, and Overwatch. Were all subject to review. It says, ironically, Battlefront 2 was the only game mentioned that didn't violate their gambling legislation. So you scroll down here, and it talks about, let's see, your things get serious from where the Minister of Justice, Jan Geens, Geens, demands that these games be remove their loot boxes from if the developers right? If the developers fail to comply, publishers could face up to 5 years in prison, along with a fine of 800,000 euros. That's a lot of money.
I don't understand. I guess I just don't understand why it's a big deal to them. I mean, it shouldn't be. I shouldn't get angry about this. I shouldn't get worked up because it doesn't affect me in any way, shape, or form. But it just seems like a really silly thing to pass legislation on.
Well, here's my thing is. Majority of these games, and let's be clear, especially you bring up a good point, is a lot of the mobile apps, that's their source of income.
Yeah,
they put the games out for free, and kind of like like Candy Crush was a big one where you could play so many lives and then in one day, and once you got played so many times, and you had to either wait to refresh or whatever, or you had to buy more plays.
Yeah, I mean, this one that I've been playing right now, My Cafe, it has a very, very similar thing in which, like, daily there's a whole bunch of boxes, and you can click to open it. You don't know what you're going to get in it. You get one free. Click. You get one by watching a video, and then for any others, you have to. I mean, would this not be considered a loot box here?
Let's see.
There are gifts you can buy.
Do you get now? Are you getting those ones exactly, or are they random?
No, I don't think you know what all's in it.
Or is that what possibly could be in there?
Right, that's what possibly could be in there, and you can get coins, and you can
get money. That would be considered
diamonds.
A loot box. Yeah, absolutely. Right. What they're saying is anytime you can pay money to a developer and they give you an item that is randomized, they are considering that gambling.
I mean, that's any of these too. Unethical. Every day you can go through and they put it in a box and you don't know what you're going to get out of there. I mean, that would be considered gambling too.
Right. So you can drink, but you can't gamble. So here's my conundrum, or here's where I take issue with it. If they think it's gambling, that's fine. You know, making it illegal and holding the company responsible, I feel like that's bad judgment. It should be the parents, right? If you let your kid play this, are you going to have a credit card tied to that game? Hell no. All right? Any self-respecting
make in-app purchases turned off.
Yeah, in-app purchases off, or put a passcode on it, or whatever the case may be. You can even clearly tell, pull your kid aside, and I feel like this is a parental thing. This shouldn't have anything to do with the company trying to make money, because now what you're doing is all the adults that want to play this game can't, because there's loot boxes, unless it's the publisher. And the funny thing is, it's interesting if you read the article. The article says if developers do not comply, let me pull it back up. The publishers are going to be held accountable, right? They're going to be the ones that serve up to 5 years in prison, or have along with, excuse me, if I could reading the webpage explains the webpage, could face up to 5 years in prison along with a fine of 800,000 euros. So they're not going to care about the developer. I mean, the developer will probably lose their job if that were to happen, but they're going to hold the publisher. That's adorable. They're going to hold the publisher responsible.
Oh, sorry, I wasn't sending that to you. I was just pushing my phone aside.
So, and they kind of spell out what they're talking about down here. One of Belgium's major concerns when looking at the issue was the way it affects the youth. It's often children who come into contact with such systems, and we cannot allow that. Again, that sounds like something the parents should decide. Like if the parents like, hey, you get a $10 allowance, here's what you got to do to put that into place, or maybe you purchase those loot boxes for them and then let them open them up or whatever. But I feel
heck, those little prize packs, the little Lego minifigure prize packs, or any of those.
Yeah,
those are gambling.
That's a good point.
You don't know what you're gonna get inside.
The random or the
minifigure thing.
God, what are those called?
I don't remember. Prize packs.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Bubble packs.
They've got a name for them. I don't remember what they're called.
I mean, all those. I mean, yes, you're going to be getting a figurine. You know that you're going to be getting one figurine, but you don't know which one you're getting.
Right, you're taking a gamble.
Yeah, I mean, couldn't you argue that that's similar? Like, yeah, I don't.
That's strange. That's really strange. I don't know how to combat that. Like you just the government just said nope, we're done. Like how do you overturn that?
I don't know.
And my concern is from a publisher standpoint, from a content creator standpoint, from a developer, like that's where they make their money. So I'd be interested to see how many more, because it was only 5 days ago that the Netherlands had released a statement about that and outlawed the same thing. It would be I'm kind of curious how far this goes and how many countries and places like that will kind of concede. I don't think the United States would do that. I hope not. Oh God, can you imagine?
I guess I just don't understand the point of it.
Yeah, it's to protect the children. You must protect the children. Because
they're gonna be disappointed in what their prize is that they get out of the thing. Like, what's the
gambling? And gambling is the devil.
But they're still getting something out of it. It's not like gambling where you put the quarter in and you may not get anything. You're gonna lose $500. I mean, you're putting money in. You're going to be getting something back out of it. What it is, you don't know. But
I don't know.
I don't know.
Don't know.
I think it's a little ridiculous.
All right. last up, we're gonna play some Detroit.
Yay!
Become Human.
Ooh.
Let me see here. Bloop. And we're going to put that on there. Boop. Some nice ambiance. And we are no longer talking about loot crates.
No, we are not.
We are done talking about loot crates.
Yeah, that we spent enough time on that.
Yep. Take that, Belgium. All right, start us off.
Ooh, me?
Yeah, you. I
feel so bad that I've not played the system nearly as much as I would have liked.
Start the demo.
I'm just looking at all the different.
You want to see what the options are?
Yeah, I kind of do. Then you got some video brightness adjusting.
So this is the same publisher or developer.
Let's play cat.
What are you playing? Experienced?
It was set to experienced. I think I want to play casual
though. Yeah, I want to focus on the story with a simpler something or other.
Yeah, I'm a casual gamer.
It's fine. Go for it. So this is the same developer that made Heavy Rain, which we were huge fans of.
Heavy Rain.
Yep.
Oh, well, here you get to pick.
David Cage, I believe, is the gentleman's name. Yeah, he was like the lead developer. Turn this up for you.
That far in the future. I think this will actually be Sawyer's graduation year.
God, look how beautiful that is. Oh, whoa. This guy's getting fancy.
He's probably a robot.
Yup. I thought he farted.
Negotiator on site.
Negotiator.
Negotiator on site.
That was weird. Oh, is that you moving?
Me, yeah.
I was like, why does he turn around
It looks
like that?
like it's like part of the movie. Like it is.
So fancy. Look at it. Oh my god.
It's very pretty.
Whoa, you're like
Sorry,
controlling the camera?
Yeah, I'm just getting bearings here.
Okay.
Oh wait. Okay.
Negotiator. Oh, that's so weird.
So things I can interact. Ooh, there's something on the ground I can interact with.
It's a fish. Oh.
Please, please, you gotta save my little girl. Wait. You're setting an android?
All right, ma'am. You need to go.
You can't do that. You. Why aren't you sending a real person?
Oh man. Find Captain Allen. Save. He's gonna eat it?
No, I'm saving it, putting it back in the tank.
Aw, you're so nice.
Probably taking away time. Find Captain Allen.
That's an interesting way to display objectives.
R2 to consult your objectives.
I bet that's Captain Allen right there in the yellow.
Ooh, language.
Talk.
Captain Allen, my name is Connor. I'm the android sent by CyberLife.
It's firing at everything that moves. It already shot down 2 of my men. We could easily get it, but they're on the edge of the balcony. If it falls, she falls.
I think this is what you see in the demo.
Do you know its name?
I haven't got a clue. Does it matter?
I need information to determine the best approach. Has it experienced an emotional shock recently?
Listen, saving that kid is all that matters. So either you deal with this fucking android now, or I'll take care of it.
Ooh, my success is not very good.
Oh man, is this? Oh, I did horrible at Heavy Rain. Or wait, was it? No. L.A. Noire was the one I did bad at. Wow, I can tell what types of gun fits in there. It's interesting.
Reconstructing?
Deviant took the father's gun. Oh, okay. Oh, I see. Something's fallen off there. It looks like something hit the ground. Oh, you spilled something. Like he spilled something when he pulled. That's why. That's why he was interested in that or whatever. There was a point of interest. Because it showed that whatever with the bullet casings or whatever that was up top fell off when he pulled the gun case down.
Do I still need to search this room?
Every second counts.
I feel like I've done everything in
I
here.
think it looks like you've done everything in this room. Oh, is this the father? Bullet wound. Ouch.
Another bullet.
Deceased. John Phillips. Father was holding something.
Rewind to search for a new clue.
Let's see where he sets it down. Oh, he looks like, okay, so he throws it somewhere.
Flies back there.
Yeah. Oh, there's the deviant right there with the gun.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool. So the tablet should be somewhere over on the right.
Here.
No, it should be on the right here, wherever.
You thought it should be where?
It should be come towards us. It should be like you should be standing on it right now. That's the body. Maybe it's not important. Because it should be somewhere over here, like by this plant.
Although it was telling me to rewind to see for another clue. Should I go back to analyzing him?
Yeah, go ahead and try and analyze them, see if there's anything else we missed. There you go.
Alright, so there's the tablet.
Unlock. Deviant was going to be replaced.
So he got mad, shot the dad, and took the little girl.
Yeesh. Oh, that's not good. That's not good. Is this guy that just got shot? Analyze 3 clues.
This is really interesting. Well, this is the first responder. They say.
Oh, okay. Oh.
So the hostage witnessed the officer getting shot. Then the cop shot the bad guy. That's actually in backwards order.
Okay, so he moved in, shot once, and the deviant shot him down.
There's an event that I'm missing.
Is it his gun? Yeah, there you go. Weapon located.
What are we waiting for? We should take down this asshole.
Ew.
It's just oil, probably, or whatever. Blue blood.
Blue blood.
Android wounded.
Yeah, based on the iron, that's definitely PL600.
I'm ready to go outside. Looks like it's leading me that way, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, I got wounded.
Stay back! Don't come any closer or I'll jump!
No, please, I'm begging you.
He is like right on the edge.
My name is Connor. What about you? What is your name?
Daniel! That's the name they gave me! Stay back!
What were those crossed off things?
I don't know. Helicopter, you're not helping.
I'm not going to hurt you. I just want to talk and find a solution.
Talk! I don't want to talk! It's too late for that now. It's too late.
They were going to replace you, and you became upset. That's what happened, right?
I thought I was part of the family. I thought I mattered,
Are you moving him forward?
but I was just their toy. Something to throw away when you're done with it.
Listen. I know it's not your fault. These emotions you're feeling are just errors in your software.
No, it's not my fault. I never wanted this. I love them, you know? But I was nothing to them. Just a slave to be ordered around.
Are you okay, Emma?
Please help me. I don't want to die. I don't want to die.
Nobody's going to die. Stay calm.
Except for your dad.
Everything's
Your
going to
dad
be
is
fine.
definitely dead.
I can't stand that noise anymore. Tell that helicopter to get out of here.
Well, it looks like you kind of got the situation
I
now.
hope so.
All right, let's wrap it up, guys. Getting there.
You have to trust me, Daniel. Let the hostage go, and I promise you, everything will be fine.
Ooh.
I want everyone to leave. And I want a car. When I'm outside the city, I'll let her go.
Oh boy. You got a little bit. You big a decision.
That's out of the question. You're a machine you have to obey. Now put the gun down and let the hostage go.
Uh oh.
I've spent my life taking orders.
Bad decision. Bad decision.
Now it's my turn to decide.
No. Bad decision. Bad decision. I made the wrong choice. I want to go back.
Oh, you got her. You got her. Oh my god. Is that the end of the game? You just killed yourself.
I did just kill myself. I'm an android, right? Like,
Yeah, you're an
bring me
android,
back.
yeah.
I mean, maybe.
Mission successful. Is he just gonna like parachute? Oh, who's in the pool?
Who was in the pool?
There was a body in the pool.
Yeah.
Probably Archer.
Maybe the mom?
Maybe. Look at the back of their vests. They have like screens on the back of their vests. See, there's somebody in the pool.
Man, that was stressful.
That's pretty cool.
It was stressful.
That's pretty cool.
Screen's flow chart here. The paths you've taken, the paths yet to be explored, and possibilities you've unlocked.
Oh my god. Wow.
Wow.
That's
That could have gone so many different. It looks like there's what?
One,
One,
two,
two,
three.
three, 4, 5, 6 possible endings.
what, three? Yeah, six different endings. That's interesting. Although
Just for that one particular. It looks like they did pretty decent with searching for clues. Sorry, I had to move this so I can look closer. So that's the searching for clues.
you save the fish. Save fish.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, there's dismissing the helicopter versus not dismissing the. It looks like I failed to negotiate, so he jumped with Emma. So, and I was doing so good on the negotiation there too, but then I was like, what? I don't know that I trust him leaving town with the girl. Like, that sounds like a really bad idea,
That's
but
not
I
a
guess.
very good negotiator.
No. This is really very interesting.
So not much of a demo, but it definitely shows you like the complexity and
The android sent by Cyberlife?
what every choice matters, yeah.
You have to accept the world as it is, or fight.
My name is Kara.
My name is Marcus.
My name is Connor.
So it looks like you
He's ours three.
maybe play as different androids in each different story. Like that story, obviously mine died, but then the next one's probably a different.
Maybe.
Do you want to try replaying the scene? Probably not on the podcast.
No, that's okay. That's okay.
Scenes can be very different depending on how you, and each scene has a long-term impact. So this then
Well, that
would
was
go
one of the-
into the next, which was something that I felt didn't.
Heavy Rain.
Heavy Rain did.
Yeah, I was gonna say Heavy Rain had some lasting impacts.
Yeah, I want to say, what game was it?
Is that the L.A. Noir?
No, the picture one. There's only 2 endings, pretty much.
Picture one.
Life is Beautiful or Life is Strange.
Life is Strange.
Really liked the premise of it, but I felt like things didn't quite. It wasn't as. I mean, this is huge. Like
Right.
that's very cool.
So yeah. When does that come out? Let's see here. Bloop, bloop. Becoming Human comes out May 25th. So
Soon.
next month. Exactly. Why do I feel like that's not right?
I don't know.
No, it says May. Yeah, it says May 25th. Okay. All right, rock on. That's exciting. That was a pretty fun one.
Mm-hmm.
Not much of a demo, but like I said, it definitely shows you what they're looking to do and the different paths you can take. So, all right. Well, that was Detroit Become Human demo that you can download on your PS4 now and see what you think and save the fish or don't save the fish.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right. Well, at this point, guys, if If you haven't watched Fear the Walking Dead or Westworld, and you don't want those to be spoiled, this is your spoiler warning. I really do appreciate you guys watching on Facebook, twitch.tv/72DPI online. If you watched on Mixer, really appreciate that. If you're watching this on YouTube sometime in the future, hello, future selves. YouTube.com/72DPI online. We really do appreciate your support. If you could do me a huge favor, click the subscribe button, leave us a comment, or if you want to be extra special, go ahead and share the video on your social networks so that we can build the channel and do great things. I don't know. Billions and billions. Billions and billions. So that's your warning. We will be now switching gears, talking no more about loot crates and Detroit becoming human, but we will now be talking about Fear the Walking Dead, episode 2.
Yeah.
So, everybody lives in a baseball field now.
Well, or did.
Yeah, we've kind
We're
of got
seeing
like
some time jumps.
a little bit of time jumps between the last part of the first episode, but we see our group, Madison, Strand, Nick, Alicia, Lucy, all in one group, all at the baseball stadium.
They've been there. They're celebrating 1 year.
Yep, celebrating 1 year of fantastical goodness.
Yep. Now we have not yet seen season 3, as I'm sure we mentioned in the last.
We gotta go pick that up. It's ready to pick up.
Yeah, I've been asking you about that.
I forgot.
I've been meaning to ask you about that. At any rate, so we know at the end of season 3, just from having seen, they allude to it in this too, but having kind of trying to get a little backstory before I jumped into this, that there was a dam, it got blown up. So I don't know at what point, how long after that it took them to find this baseball stadium.
Right.
So there's been, some time there, and then there's been the year from the baseball stadium.
Right.
And then we know that events have happened in this that are happening right now that we're watching unfold with this vultures group that we'll go into.
Right.
And then we see them in even more time passing. Again, we don't know how much, when they encounter Morgan, the journalist, and John Dory. So there's kind of some just, time jumps and gaps and things happening here. But this one pretty much, as you said, focused all on current day, or
Aletha.
not current day.
Aletha is the
journalist.
The journalist.
Yeah. So we're basically, I guess, finding out how they came to be these really kind of scary looking people on the road who would take advantage of Morgan and that group that he's with.
Right. One of so at the very beginning of this episode, you have Madison talking with a little girl that must have made her way somehow to the baseball diamond. They brought her in. She was alone. And she gives them the story of, hey, my family or whatever are still out there. She pointed in the direction, and Madison, who's clearly the Rick of the group, the Rick of the baseball stadium. She's the one that founded it, apparently, the leader of the baseball stadium. She looks like she's got a group of what seems to be,
I think they said about 40 some people living there right now.
Right. And then she has, I guess, what would be considered your generals, if you will. Like, she was basically had a map out of the, what would they call it? What was the term they used? Contact zone?
That's basically what it was. They didn't call it that, but yeah, there was like an area in which they were allowed to scout and do things like that, and it was pretty much their radio.
Maybe it was safe zone. I don't remember.
It was like their radio, they'd go into radio silence past that.
Right. So there was some pushback from one of the people about going outside of the safe zone or whatever, and she's like, well, we went after you, and look how that turned out. Right. So she's very much of the mindset of, we need to find people and bring them in and rebuild society.
Yeah.
Which is a good thing.
It is. I mean, they're very, very, for the most part, very accepting of
yeah.
new people at this point.
Oh yeah.
Whereas, when, like you said, in Walking Dead, Alexandria was going out and looking for people. They were kind of watching them first and getting intel on them before they brought them in. But, recently you see, with the interaction with Carl and Rick and Sadiq at the gas station, Rick was not willing to bring new people into their fold. They're very, very skeptical of anybody that they come in contact with. But here you're seeing kind of a very different take on things.
And I don't think it's due to them being out in the wilderness that long, because I feel like we've caught up to The Walking Dead.
Mm-hmm. Well, with the baseball diamond area may not be caught up with Walking Dead, but Morgan coming to them is past the Walking Dead.
Right.
That's
right. So they've lived.
That's even ahead of where we've been in the Walking Dead.
Right. So they've gone through. I mean, they've gone through it. I mean, maybe not to the point of eating turtles out of their shell or whatever. Like what's her name in Walking Dead? What's Carl's girlfriend's name? Enid. Right. But anyway, they've seen some stuff. They've seen their fair share of zombies and their the scavengers and things like that. But so the group minus Nick goes out in search for this girl's family. They find. They go out and they go into this one town that's outside of their radio zone or whatever.
And there's nobody.
There's nobody. No cars. Nothing. It was just.
The towns picked totally clean.
Right, they go Strand and what's
Alicia.
her Alicia? Yeah, Alicia went with her mom.
I don't recall.
What's the other girl's name?
Lucy.
So I think it was Lucy and Strand were a group or whatever. Anyway, so they went into this one convenience store and like literally they had a register on the table and that was it, and everything else was picked clean.
Yeah, I mean we've even seen a lot of places they go and there's still some
Something,
stuff there,
right.
but this place was like empty.
Yeah, they're like, those tampons, we want those. Gotta have them. Like it was just bare. The black licorice that nobody likes, take it.
Heck, you gotta eat. But and while they were there, they saw those mysterious flags that in the future Althea, Morgan, and John had seen with a seemingly random number on it, on like a piece of burlap or just kind of
bed sheet
tan,
something,
material flying up, and so they saw those too, and then they encountered
a survivor.
Naomi.
Yeah, a survivor.
Yeah, she turns out to be Naomi.
Which
Elfman.
Which they assume is the girl's mom
At first.
but it's not.
Right. At first she kind of asks her that, and she says, "No, I don't have a kid." But she just appears extremely scared. She's very dirty.
Right. She says that she's been on the road. She
looks just very wild.
Yeah.
And so, of course, she's trying to run away from them and take the keys to the van and just get out of there. She seems very untrusting of anybody. And they follow her. She basically escapes up onto this roof. And looking at this roof, you can see that at one point it's been a trap for zombies, basically. Right. There's some loudspeakers up on top of the roof. I mean, who carries speakers up on top of a roof?
Right.
And a big hole in the ceiling.
On top of the silos.
I guess that's where they were. I don't know. But at any rate, they fall in, of course. She takes a step back, not noticing the hole, and Naomi does, and falls in. And I don't know that I would jump in there for. I don't think I would. I'm just not.
Well, it seems weird because Madison knows that it's locked, like, because you can see it looks like it's an oil refinery of some sort, some place where it stores oil or whatever. But you can clearly see that down below there is, chest deep oil or some type of gasoline or something. Yeah, there's zombies down there. The gate. It's dark. The only light coming in is through the 6-foot hole that's on top or whatever. And she knows that the door is closed, he's locked or closed or whatever. So she turns to her daughter and says, "Go unlock the hatch," and then she jumps in. What if the latch can't be unlocked? What if the latch is rusted closed because it hasn't been used in over a year? Or what if
5 years?
What
or
if
something?
there's a
Yeah.
padlock? Or what are you going to do? Like,
Yeah.
what if the reason why it's only
It was
chest
a really big gamble.
right? What if the only reason that it's chest deep in water is because there's 6 feet of zombies just mushed floor down to the bottom?
God.
Like, for one person, like, that doesn't like and like I think my what do they call it when you're initiation? My initiation into my group would be, can you walk backwards without falling into a hole? Yeah. If you can't accomplish that, I don't want you in my party.
Right. You're
like,
not a very big asset.
You are not like you smell.
But
like,
you know what? She turns out to be an asset.
Oh, I don't know. Does
She's
she?
a nurse.
Oh, is she? I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
she was. Yeah, they were talking. So okay.
Okay, go ahead.
Fast forward. They get her out of. They
get
get
her
out of this
out.
situation. It's nasty. It's gross. Whatever.
The door opens up.
Yep. And they head back to.
Lucky them.
They head back to camp. As they're heading back to camp, Nick is dealing with some stuff of his own back at the diamond.
He must
his
have went through some nuts stuff. Like,
yeah, his crops are not going very good.
Yeah.
They're being
Just
eaten up
turnips.
by pests, basically. And well, it's tomatoes too. I think he ended up throwing those out.
Yep.
And it's getting late, and he's starting to get worried about his people. And he's apparently, right, like you said, at the end of season 3, he's had some trauma. And he, before at the end of season 1 or 2, you see him and he's all covered in zombie blood, and he's just out season 1 walking with the zombies, just wanting to be out free with the zombies. And then here you see him and he's just like,
completely.
he will not leave. He's a hermit, basically just staying within the confines of the baseball diamond. But you do see him start to leave because he's getting nervous about where his family is, and has basically a panic attack and drives the car into a pole.
While in the parking lot. Like, he didn't make it very far.
No, and zombies are crowding around him just in time for his mom and all of them to get back with this Naomi and stuff. But was it him that, I think it was him that sustained an injury. And Naomi comes and is dressing, and he asked about her medical, and she said she was a nurse. So they do discuss that. So that is beneficial to the group.
Nurse
to
is
have a
good.
nurse there. Yeah. And while they are sitting in there, all of a sudden, Lucy is on watch, and has her sniper out, and they're pulling the disabled vehicle back towards the camp that Nick drove in, and you see all these cars come. And she's, run, get back in here.
Leave the car. Leave the truck.
Yeah, leave the truck. Just get in here. And I don't know how many cars. I mean, there were semis,
There's a lot.
school buses,
RVs.
just a whole lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the group they're calling the vultures, because they are basically vultures. They're not
It doesn't seem
they're not seemingly aggressive.
right. And the leader, I don't remember what's the leader's name.
I don't remember what his name was. But he comes up and he knows Nick's name. He knows about the turnips going bad. He knows about all kinds of things.
Is it Mel?
Mel, that's it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, Mel.
Knows about all kinds of things that are going on, and come to find out the little girl,
Is there intel?
right, she lost her family long ago. He picked her up and has been caring for her, but in caring for her, he really just sends her into other people's camps to get information on them.
Right. So he knows exactly what their artillery is, how many weapons, how much bullets, how many grenades.
Is it useful for them to
right.
have this stuff?
He also finds out that they have food shortage because they have their crops are failing. So.
Right. So yeah, he goes, unlike Negan, who's like, yeah, give me 25% of your stuff and whatever. He's just like, yeah, you can either join us, give us all your stuff and join us, or we're just gonna sit here in your parking lot, you're going to eventually die because you don't have enough ammo for doing a whole lot. You don't have enough food.
Right. We outnumber you.
Yeah, like
We're just going to wait for you to die.
right, and then we'll just take all your stuff anyhow. So better to just join us, get all your stuff. We'll go get more stuff from others,
Right.
other people who are failing, and yeah, that's
So here's my problem with this, and it actually kind of just came in my mind is if they do starve, like if the vultures are truly vultures, they would almost have to be cannibals as well. And I don't think they are. They're not quite like they don't seem like the Terminus type, but you never know.
right.
If they do, if the group does, or if the groups that they kind of taunt or whatever, or sit outside, not our group necessarily, but the last group they came upon, they said, okay, well, you only have a couple handguns or whatever, you don't got enough bullets to kill us all. We're just going to wait till you starve to death, right? By starving to death, that implies that they're out of food, right?
So then what is there to take?
The only thing left to take is their ammunition. So is the vulture? Is it worth the vultures to sit there for weeks?
I feel like there's got to be more to them.
I think so too, because if is it worth them just sitting there for weeks eating their own food, just for a couple handguns, a couple grenades, and enough pistol ammo to to form a small revolution? But
I feel like there's got to be more to them, especially. I mean,
I think they got to be cannibals.
when we see Alicia and Strand and Nick next, they look like they've been through hell and back. And
they look like
they've been perfectly fine for the last year in their little bubble of the baseball diamond.
Right.
So something.
I mean, they have showers, they have electricity,
and they see the flag of the vultures, because those flags we find out were from. This
So they
group of vultures.
demonstrate. That's the first thing they do when the vultures show up, is they demonstrate what they do.
Right, their ability to round up zombies and encapsulate them in trucks or in oil tanks or
Right.
wherever. And so various places around this countryside, we've seen those flags too. My thinking is it's the number of zombies inside.
Yeah, I think that's about right.
Or maybe the number that they've rounded up all together over time. I don't know, but
Or it might be because the first one that we saw was how many? Wasn't it in the hundreds?
I don't know.
Because we'll have to go back and look, because it might be like, oh, this is the first spot we've done, this is the second spot, third spot, fifth. This is the 50th time we've done this, so we know our shit. Well, I think you're right. First, I think it's the number of zombies
that are inside each container.
Yeah, I think that's what it is.
So they can contribute or account for each one.
Yeah,
possibly. So,
would you like to be the guy that does the head count? 1, 2, 3. Stop moving.
Well, the guy just rode I don't know how he got out of there, because one guy rode his
motorcycle
around, attracted him, and drove up into the semi-trailer, and they all followed him.
Yeah, they probably got some type of contraption or something. They probably haven't
like
figured it out.
A trap door in the ceiling or something he climbs up out of, or
something.
Yeah.
Or if there's a door on the other side and he just drove through and they just closed it.
Now, Talking Dead, he did mention weaponizing them.
Right. Because they don't have a lot of weapons.
Right. So, it could be similar to like Rick's plan on
Walking Dead.
Right. Rick's plan on Walking Dead of surrounding the sanctuary with zombies until they can't get food or water out and they starve. And then they give up. I mean, that could be a similar plan to what they do.
That's true. So once starvation sets in and they've rationed their food, like, okay, we only have enough food to last for 5 more days, we might as well give up. Here's 5 days worth of food for the 60 people that live here.
Right. But it'll be interesting to see the route that it's taken, because there is a drastic change between the Group
A
way they've been in the Diamond versus where they are meeting Morgan.
Yeah.
And we don't see their mom.
Yeah, we don't see. Yeah,
we haven't seen her.
Madison.
Have we seen Lucy?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the only one that's been
There's
missing
4
from
people.
that group is Madison, right?
Yeah, you've got Lucy. Yeah, you got Lucy, Nick, Alicia, and Strand. Those 4 were the ones that were that attacked John and company.
Yeah, so that could be a bad sign for what's going on.
I wonder how far in
her.
advance that is, because we don't know that.
We
right?
don't know how long.
We know that they were in the Diamond celebrating 1 year when about that same time that's when the vultures showed up, And
then
then
we don't know. We have no knowing how long the vultures stay there until they meet up with Morgan's group.
Right.
So, yeah, we don't know how long that's been. We don't know where Madison is.
A lot of unanswered questions. I want to know what happened to Nick. I hope I don't.
Oh, between seasons 3.
Right, Strand. I mean, Strand. Clearly, Strand. There, something happened with Strand in season 3 that we're not aware of, yet with the dam, because he carries a piece of rubble around that's from the dam that reminds him of something that he did to betray Madison and them, and Madison took him back in because she sees something that he doesn't, or he, is yet to believe in, or whatever. So there's some story there that we missed out on.
Season 2, I didn't even finish watching all of season 2. But he even stayed at the hotel when they all left.
Right.
So I don't know.
Right.
What
So we've got a lot
to
catch up on season 3. But I'm wondering if Nick has some type of PTSD from the dam, if that's
explosion.
the answer.
Yeah, it was. She said something along the lines of putting the family at risk.
Right.
So I think they were on the dam when he blew it up, but something along. Yeah.
So
it apparently took some kind of mental toll on him to do that.
Anyway, so that was Fear the Walking Dead. It was a pretty good episode. Mm-hmm. So I'm interested. It's nice that our group is together. For now at least.
For the most part.
We have one common enemy, the vultures. We know the outcome. Our group loses their leader and is.
Potentially. She could be, we don't know that she's lost. She could be someplace else.
Right.
Or she's not with them at that particular run or something.
Yeah, maybe. Who knows? Maybe they took care of the vultures and.
Well, but they're saying, this is your flag.
Oh,
they were very, very upset about the fact that they had one of the vulture flags.
That's right. Yeah, and it looks like they're going out hunting them, actually. Hunting the vultures or whatever, because they're like, you're one of their group or whatever. So that might indicate that they're very Negan-esque in the sense that they have outposts or whatever.
Could be.
So they're a bigger group than meets the eye. So maybe they're part of Negan's group.
Yeah, because our group doesn't know what they mean. They're like, this isn't our flag.
Right.
What is it? What does it mean?
We just took it.
Yeah.
So, okay. So let's switch gears real quickly here and talk about some Westworld. Westworld episode 1, or season 2, episode 1. I need to go back and watch season 1 again.
You seem rather frustrated.
Yeah, and I'm not alone, because there's a couple blog posts that I've read where people were slightly confused, and they blamed the stretch of time between the 2 seasons for it.
There was a long time between the 2 seasons.
But that's not to me, that's not really an excuse. My biggest thing is the time jumps are hard to differentiate, and they do that on purpose because they're androids, and the androids don't age. So
and season 1 was very much that way. A lot of times you weren't really sure exactly what was going on, or it took a lot of puzzling to figure. That's what I liked, because it was it was almost like a puzzle you had to work out.
Right, and
you had certain pieces, and then you could start to kind of fit them together until it all made a bigger picture.
I think this series is going to frustrate me watching it live. I think waiting a week in between episodes is going to be a pain in the ass.
We watched it live last time.
Did we?
Mm-hmm.
I guess we did. Maybe not. I don't know. Maybe I was just in a grumpy mood. I don't know. I think if I go back and watch season 1, I think I'll be able to connect the dots or whatever, or get caught up. Not really caught up, but re-jog my god-awful memory. Anyway, so
maybe not even just that, but just getting back into the mindset of how that
it's very
show
flash forward, sideways. This is happening now. This is not happening now. This is what could have happened. Oh wait, no, that's Walking Dead. That does flash what could have's.
Lost.
Well, no. Well,
yeah, Walking Dead did too.
Yeah. Anyway, so we're so this is what I wrote down. I broke it down into a flashback and flash forward. So the beginning of the episode is a flash backwards. It shows us the aftermath of the season finale.
Right. Which was the big party that they were having to launch the new storyline.
Right.
Where Dolores realizes that kind of what she is.
Kind of gains sentience, yeah.
Yeah,
like
or we think she does. Again, sometimes...
They kind of fade in and out.
Well, and sometimes you have to wonder, because Maeve also has been aware, they call it awake,
right.
of what's going on. But then you also see in her programming that she was programmed to be aware of what was going on. So, because I believe she decided to get on the train and then come back for her daughter. She was going to leave Westworld altogether, right? And then she decides to come back for her daughter.
Right.
But you see in her program that she was programmed to do that. So it's like, okay, well, was she, how much of this is programming and how much of this is actually them being aware?
So do you think maybe it's two completely different issues? Like maybe Maeve is programmed to do it and Dolores is not.
Aware?
She's kind of like broken the mold and
it's possible, but you don't really know.
Right. So so the flashback starts us off with the aftermath of the season finale. So like you've got these groups of like the humans that are here celebrating the new storyline, kind of breaking off into groups and trying to hide or whatever, running for their lives, trying to escape, getting murdered and failing miserably. And then people still aren't aware of Bernard and the
fact that he's one of them.
Right. So he's being very cautious. Then I can't remember I don't remember the girl's name that he was with, but they witness the host setting up a trap, which is super scary with the car or whatever, and they set the rescue people up or whatever.
Oh. Right.
And like the people that are there for the party, like, oh my God, there's help! I knew we'd find people, and they run up, and sure enough, all those people are dead. They're just just been propped up, and then those people, like, they do let one of the guys go. They're like, oh, that's a terrible way to die. You should just run, and he runs off, and she murders everybody else. Then they do this, and then Bernard and I put down park manager. I don't know.
Right, they go to a place where they can kind of get into the computer system and message for additional help, find out what's going on.
And they do have they do have I think a prototype is what she called it, downstairs.
Yeah, it was a really odd. It looked almost like alien-esque. Like it didn't have. It was more like the muscle structure of some things. It didn't have It
didn't have a face. Yeah, it looked
it was
very
all that white muscly stuff that they
used. And it was kind of doing. It had its own agenda or whatever.
And it looked to be building a host maybe or something.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what it was doing, or I didn't catch if it did say what it was doing. But at that time, Bernard's kind of starts getting that jitter.
Been shaking.
Yeah, he's been shaking a little bit, getting the jitters or whatever, and he finally. Now that he has a computer, he can analyze.
He ran a diagnostic.
Yeah, he ran a diagnostics on himself, and found out. Which I'm kind of curious. Like you have it's the weirdest thing that you have these androids that are capable of personal thought, conversation, hiding the fact that they're androids, but they can't run a self-diagnostics. They have to have another computer to do that.
I don't know.
I guess that's just part of the law. They've got to have some type of flaw, right? But anyway, so he takes out some of this fluid or something from the one host that's sitting on the table, injects it in himself, and boom, he's all better. So now we have...
Right, he's got like
some type of leak or something.
What did they say? A critical...
Hemorrhage. I think it was a hemorrhage, didn't there? Critical contusion or something. I don't know.
I have no idea.
I don't remember.
We need to watch it again.
Clearly, we need to watch it again. But it happened in the barn fight when they were taking down that stable boy, which was kind of sad to see. But anyway, so now we have this pending doom for Bernard having to inject himself with this stuff every so often, otherwise he'll go insane. And then Maeve takes one of the scientists, to help her find her daughter.
Yep.
So that is what I considered the flashback.
Okay.
And then the flash forward is Bernard is washed up on a shore, saved by one of the rescue party.
One of the scientists that we'd seen. He was part of the park last season. is with them.
Mm-hmm.
And
is that the guy that got tackled or was taken hostage by the natives or whatever, like the native tribe or whatever?
I don't recall. He was the one that worked with that dark-haired girl.
Man, we are terrible.
We are.
Names.
This is really bad. We got to go back and watch it. But they're going down there, and any hosts that they come up upon that are still living, they're pretty much taking them out.
That's Walking Dead.
And again, they still aren't aware that Bernard is one of them. They're trying to get him to give information to them about, I guess, what's going on in there. One of the other really interesting things, and it seems to have been about 2 weeks have passed since the night of the party and all that carnage to Bernard washing up on shore. So there's 2 weeks of events happening there. He didn't wash up with the girl that he's in that bunker with, so we don't know what happened to her or where she is in those 2 weeks. They're trying to find out where all the hosts are so they can eliminate them and take out the threat. Right,
they're eliminating them as Bernard's walking through this through the rescue party and the special ops. Like they're just ending these people or these hosts.
So you're kind of getting snippets of this and snippets of the flashback, and then we're also seeing Dolores.
Yeah,
and we don't know exactly where in this time frame. I think this is somewhere within those 2 weeks.
Yeah, because she was
hunting. At the party, right? She was at the party, and then she apparently takes Teddy and rides off into the sunset, killing people.
Not just killing people, but hanging them.
Yeah,
they
weren't even hanging.
Like
they were standing on stools, and she just kind of left them there to eventually die.
Right.
So yeah, she's being very, very.
It's very evil
in her methods.
And some of the conversations that she has with those people, she's like, talking about, you enjoy my world so much. Now I'm going to enjoy your world. And like this whole like role reversal where, you feel bad, you created my world because you feel bad for these feelings and you want to, bring them out, and this is where you bring those feelings out of the sadistic things that you do to me and my folks or whatever. But she's very vengeful. Like she's on a mission.
She is. And so we see her and Teddy talk about how they are going to basically go explore the world from the sounds of it. And then we flash back forward to Bernard on the beach. And they have located a large grouping of hosts on their little pop-up map. And so
I wonder what they're doing.
Right. They're like, okay, well, why is everybody all combined? So they go to find them, and they find a big pond, lake, ocean type structure.
Massive
body of water, which wasn't on any of the maps. So we don't know where this water came from. And all of those, probably hundreds of androids have drowned. One of which is Teddy.
Right.
So we last saw him somewhere in that 2 week span alive with Dolores. And now he's dead in the pond.
And it seems like Bernard has something to do with this pond.
He said I did. He said I killed him.
Oh, did he? Oh, okay. I missed that.
He said,
clearly he did. Okay, sweet. Yeah. My notions were correct.
Yeah, he said I did this or I killed him. I don't remember the exact verbiage. I'd have to go back and rewatch it. But yeah, he had something to do with this. Now I don't know where Dolores is. They didn't zoom in on her face floating.
Right.
So is she still alive someplace else? Did she separate from Teddy? I wouldn't think they would just kill her off. I mean, that would be the end of. They can't clearly kill off all of our hosts right here, because then that's kind of the end of the Westworld show, right? Like, all the androids are dead.
Maeve. We don't know where Maeve is.
Yeah, but then we've got 2 androids. That doesn't seem like a huge threat.
Right, but you got to remember, you have 2 androids that Maeve can recompute other androids, right? Because she can control. Like she saved the scientist, right? Back when you go back to the flashback, the scientist was going to get eaten by one of the hosts or whatever, and she said something and stopped him. Like, so she's reconfigured all of the hosts' commands or whatever.
That are still alive.
Right, exactly. But you don't think that she would be able to to reprogram?
I don't know.
I mean, she's been. I don't know.
They're all dead and taken.
But they can be brought back. I mean, just because they. I mean, just like if they were shot in Westworld proper,
Right.
the next day they'd be back up and walking because that's what they do.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
At any rate, yeah. So there's a few different things happening, like 3 different timelines almost. It seems like.
Just interweaving.
Yeah, and trying to figure out what's going on in between all those. There was something else that I was going to mention, and now I don't. Oh, Bernard and the park lady when they were in that bunker.
Mm-hmm.
The Delos Corporation.
Delos Corporation.
That's the people who own the Westworld.
Oh, yeah.
They were not sending help.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
They were not going to send help until they had something that they wanted, which was Dolores's dad, actually, Peter Abernathy, that they had decommissioned and put in the cold storage back like in the first couple episodes of Westworld. We don't know why they want him, and we don't know if they get him because clearly there's help outside the park right now.
Right.
When Bernard washes ashore, so is that the group that wasn't coming was coming, so that's kind of interesting, kind of trying to figure out what they want with Dolores's dad.
Right.
Which I think they actually, and again, we need to go back and watch last season again, because I do believe they go down before Dolores goes and shoots everybody at the party.
Mm-hmm.
I think they go down and reanimate all those down in cold storage, don't they? And they bring them back.
Yep, they sure did.
Maeve did that when she was trying to escape.
Was that Maeve?
Because wasn't she and the one gunslinger that would come to town like every 2 weeks or something like that to get the vault, to get the in the bar.
Yeah.
They were in the process of escaping, and so they created that fight within the inside of
Right.
And so I think they were the ones that woke everybody up. But again, that may not be correct. We do need to go back and rewatch.
The other thing that we haven't talked about yet is the Man in Black. We have not talked about him.
We did see him briefly.
Yeah, we saw him briefly in the flashback. I guess this would.
It was like right after the shooting happened.
Right after the shooting happened. I think it was still daylight. I think it was that next morning or whatever. Like he
was injured.
Yeah, he was injured. He was basically under a pile of bodies or whatever, hiding. But got up, kind of dressed his wound or whatever, and now the park has reinvigorated him because this is exactly what he wanted. He
wanted it to be real.
Right. This, there's no consequence. Now there's consequence. Like, so.
Yeah. No, I agree. So, and he was talking to somebody, I think, outside the park.
Outside the park.
Yeah, he was talking to another park owner or something on the phone.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, they were talking about.
I know he was talking to one of the boy androids.
He did talk to them. That was Anthony Hopkins' character, modeled after Anthony Hopkins' young self.
Yeah.
Oh, and then we get a little glimpse into the other android parks. The Bengal tiger washed up on shore.
Yeah.
So clearly the tiger somehow managed to leave his territory, which they mentioned had not happened before. He was washed up and dead, but
so that's interesting. So that would indicate that all these parks have like one central location, and that's where is that where the center of this body of water is, or at least there's got to be some connecting pieces with
well, I mean, they were all created in the same lab area, because we see Maeve walk past like some of the same
right. Yeah, the construction area is the same, but I wouldn't think you would want Westworld next to Space World next to Ninja World. Like you'd want some type of divider,
because your guests come up to they come to the Westworld building there. I thought when they got on the train to go to Westworld.
Right. I don't know.
So it would make sense that anybody going to any of those worlds would all go.
Right, but what I'm saying is like a divider wall. Like you wouldn't want there to be nothing in between the two, would you? I mean, you would want something, I would
so
think.
that you can control guests going from place to place?
I guess so.
I mean, I would think that they would imagine that their hosts would be programmed so they can't escape those boundaries.
Right.
You know, they're supposed to stay on their loops and stay on these certain paths
Right.
and things. So they would not expect them to go without those boundaries.
Right.
But maybe, yeah.
But we know
exactly,
that
you might not want a guest who pays for 2 weeks to just go walk into another section of the world for free.
Right. Yeah. So but then you also so that would be true then, that the pond is at least spanning two parks, because the tiger washed up on shore.
Well, but that shore wasn't the pond that was on the map.
That shore. Wait, hold on.
The shore where Bernard washed up and the tiger had washed up.
Mm-hmm.
That was a different body
Was
of
it?
water than where the androids had all drowned.
Was it?
Yes, because they had been there. They were there at that
okay,
beach, and then they get in the jeeps and they go
Oh,
off
yeah, that's
someplace else.
right,
And like,
that's
well,
right.
this water's
That's
not
right,
here.
that's
We didn't know
right,
anything
that's
about
right,
this.
you're
How
right.
did he?
You're right.
How did
Okay.
he create this without our knowledge?
I got you. You're right. Okay, cool. Anything else you want to talk about? Good episode.
I don't think so.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for watching. Really do appreciate it. Like I said before we start talking about fear, make sure you head over to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/72DPI online. Get subscribed, share our videos, do everything to tell everybody that you watch and enjoy our content. It helps out a lot. It's free. It's a great way to support the channel, and we greatly appreciate it. We will be back next Wednesday with some more gaming goodness. Tomorrow we've got the Laundry Day stream. Probably going to be playing some Fortnite, so make sure you tune in on twitch.tv/72DPI online. I think that's about it.
Yep.
All right, we'll see you guys next week. Thanks for watching.
Night.